Wow, it's a flashback. That is flashback radio, huh? That's the new 1420 WKCW there in Warrenton. Remember the cufflinks and Tracy? That's like blast from my when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I grew up in the oh, it's too loud. This is my granddad's old radio. It's kind of conking out. When I was a kid, I grew up in the Jersey suburbs of Philadelphia and listened to WFIL, the famous 56, and Wibbage 99. And this was the kind of music I was listening to. This was like 68, 69. I was like a little tyke who had just discovered radio. And I would like listening to the Cufflinks and Grassroots and the Monkees. And Bobby Sherman. Wow, it's kind of cool listening. Kind of cool listening to that. It's 1420 a.m. WKCW out of Warrenton. Puts a pretty good signal into Northern Virginia. I don't know how it comes in over there in Maryland, but it's really kind of freaky to go, whoa! I mean, the Fifth Dimension. I haven't heard the Fifth Dimension on the radio in Washington in a long time. Cool stuff there. That's Bruce Houston's Metro Radio on 1420. So check it out. I can't imagine, it's going to get a lot of ratings because, Washington ain't an AM radio market anymore, but it's cool to hear it. Some depressing, whoops. TNT cancels Men of a Certain Age. There isn't a lot on cable to watch. I mean, there's a lot of channels, but I think most of cable TV is crap. It's just reruns and crappy shows, and how many cop show knockoffs can you find on TNT and all these other channels? It's a shame because Men of a Certain Age was cool television. It was well written, it was well acted, and it really did touch folks like me, guys in the middle age, and what's going on in their lives. And it's a very nice little show. And it's a shame that TNT can't keep it going. I mean, come on. The ratings weren't astounding for it. I mean, it probably got as much as a show on paid cable gets. But, it was even nominated for an Emmy this past week. It's a shame. It's a cool show, and it's a shame that somewhere on the 800 million channels of cable TV there can't be a place for Men of a Certain Age. It was just a very good show. It's funny. It's just funny too how David Zurawik in the Baltimore Sun has written up about the cancellation. He really wrote glowing praise about the show when it launched a couple years ago, and then nothing today or yesterday about the cancellation of it. Zurawik is like Fari. He's like kind of a mediocre journalist. I'll tell you, a C+, C-, something like that. I don't know. La 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 la. What is this? The Delphonics. This is cool stuff. I'm showing my age. Sad news to report. Kelly Saunders has passed away. Kelly was one of the first rock radio female DJs in the Baltimore, Washington market. Passed away on Friday. She was only 62, cancer. She started her radio career in Front Royal in the early 70s and quickly moved over to Arlington's Weem. Now, Weem used to be was a top 40 station in the late 60s, early 70s, 1390, and it flipped over to kind of an album rock format for a year or two. So she was working there then, and then she moved over to DC-101.
AM 1420. Are you interested in vacation, retreat, or solitude to deepen your spiritual connection?
Okay.
Spiritual wilderness solitude.
Well, we'll click on that in a minute. It's hard when they're talking in the background. Anyhow, she moved over to DC-101, worked there in the late 70s. Got a picture up of her and a bunch of cool DC-101ers there on DCRTV today. If you can check that out. There they are. It's not going to come in real good on this. I don't feel like rechanging the focus, but you got Dave Brown, and Jerry Strider, Gary Chase and Howard Page there, back in the glory days of DC 101 there. She worked there. She worked at 98 Rock in Baltimore, became good friends with Kurt McEwen, who now does the afternoon show, the morning show on 105.9 The Edge. And she also worked at BALAM, did some reporting for Channel 13 in Baltimore. And her last gig, I'm told, was at WAMU, where she was doing some announcing work over there, and got to know Ed Walker, the brilliant, legendary Ed Walker of the Joy Boys fame, who also does a really cool nostalgic radio show on 88.5 on Sunday nights. But Kelly passed away. Real name was Linda, but she passed away Friday. So don't have my camo cap on today. I don't know where I put it. Tip of the old camo cap to Kelly Saunders, one of the greats of Washington, Baltimore radio. All right, we reported yesterday, got a source. You see, the folks at CBS don't talk to me. When Michael Hughes was there, he was good. I could email Michael, and he would get back to me. But the folks at CBS don't talk to me, so I basically have to rely on a bunch of sources that I have. So some of the stuff I just say, sources are telling me this, sources are telling me that. And they're good sources. They're people that have reported to me a lot of stuff before. But basically, we reported here on DCRTV that WJFK, which is moving its studios shamefully. They're moving shamefully from Fairfax to Lanham. Hey, that's a shame. They need to be in Fairfax. Be Fairfax's only radio station. Anyhow, only real radio station, except for 1310, but that's another story. Anyhow, we reported that the Junkies are, signed up to a new contract, and some of the other personalities at JFK, which makes a lot of sense. JFK doesn't do terribly great in the overall ratings, but they do well in the male demo. And, that's what some advertisers, car dealers, beer purveyors, stuff like that, they really like having solid male demos, and JFK does do well in male demos, young male demos, even though its ratings 19th, 20th place in the overall numbers. So it looks like there won't be any significant changes at JFK for the next year or so, with a new Steve Swenson taking over there at the CBS Lanham. So we shall see. Will John Thompson be leaving 980? Dan Snyder's ESPN 980. A lot of rumblings that, he will, but, the folks at WTEM insist that he's still under contract and he's still planning to continue doing his show, but I'm hearing a lot of rumblings. You see, one of the things DCRTV does is we report the rumblings. We have our ear to the ground, and we hear the horses coming 10 miles away, and we tell you we hear horses coming 10 miles away. We report a lot of stuff that's rumor, but it has some roots to it. Okay, I judge my sources as to whether they're good and bad and whatever. And we report a lot of stuff here long before it happens. We reported Donnie Simpson was leaving PGC months before the official word came out. We reported the Washington Post radio is going to end. Remember that fiasco there on 1500 and 1077? Long before the official announcement came down the pike. We reported that Dan Snyder was buying WTEM from Clear Channel a couple years ago. Long before it happened. And we report stuff like, maybe WMAL going to 105.9. Possible format tweaks for 94.7, CBS's 94.7. John Thompson possibly leaving 980. Tony Kornheiser possibly leaving 980. Long before these things happen. Now, most of the stuff we do report like that, without, long distance stuff does come true. People get mad at me, though, because, nobody else is reporting it, and, you can't source it in stone, and you shouldn't report. Well, that's what DCRTV is. DCRTV has always been news being made. Okay, it's not necessarily the final product. It's we're making it. We're reporting it totally undeveloped. But a lot of what we report, we keep you in on what's going on before it happens. So, we're not the New York Times. We're not even the Washington Post. We're DCRTV. All right, folks. What else is going on? Anything else? Anything? Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Lindsay Zarniak says goodbye to Channel 4. Count Gore will be doing a thing in Arlington there. Check that one out on DCRTV. There's a really cool talk on Saturday afternoon about RCA over there at the Radio Television Museum in Bowie, Maryland. Bowie, home of the Junkies. You ever go to Bowie? They have a big sign, "Welcome to Bowie, home of the Junkies." And it has, you know, all 4 of their pictures on it. It's really a cool place. You know, when I was a kid, we lived up in Woodbury, New Jersey. That's when I was listening to WFIL and songs like that on, you know, the radio. We lived in Woodbury, New Jersey, and my cousins lived in Bowie, in the Pointer Ridge section of southern Bowie. And we would drive down all the time. We would come down I-95 through the Baltimore Tunnel, down 301, and come to Bowie. So I spent a lot of time in my youth before moving to the Washington area over there at my cousins in Bowie. Wow. That's an old one. 1420 WKCW. Okay, folks, that's it for this weekend. Have a good one. And don't forget to stay. Oh, wait, it's the, I never said this. It's the July 16th edition of Dave TV. Don't forget to have a good one and stay tuned.